Very good morning, my dear students. The last class we have discussed about the DC sputtering techniques, and in which we have seen the DC sputtering and RF sputtering, isn't it? So today we are going to discuss about another two methods of the PVD, physical vapor deposition methods. The first one is the ion plating, and another one is the laser ablation method. So what is meant by ion plating? Ion plating is actually closed between resistance evaporation and closed flow discharge sputtering. Usually this particular method is classed between resistance evaporation method of physical vapor deposition and glow discharge method of vapor deposition. So in this technique, a negative voltage is applied to the substrate. So here negative voltage is applied to the substrate. In the case of DC sputtering and RF sputtering, we have seen the target is made negative, isn't it? Target is actually given negative voltage. Whereas in ion plating, the negative voltage is applied to the substrate. It is actually applied to the substrate. Anode is connected to the source and material which is to be vaporized before coating. The anode is connected, or positive polarity is connected to the source, and the material which is to be vaporized, which material is to be vaporized upon the substrate. In that particular material is made positive, or anode is connected to the source and material which is to be vaporized before coating. The chamber is subsequently filled with argon gas with a pressure of few Pascal. Pascal is also used for measurement of small pressures. So further small pressure is the millipascal or so. So usually the chamber of the ion plating process is filled with inert gas like argon with a very few Pascal as or just like millipascal, some 100 torr or so, and the plasma is ignited. Usually the plasma produced is ignited. So this is the schematic diagram for ion plating, in which, and this particular is the chamber in which this particular process are taking place, and this is actually a shutter and shutter operating mechanism. So this shutter can be moved either this direction or this direction, and this is the source in which an electron gun is provided, so that this electron gun will be hitting this target. This is the target. So this target, this electron beam heated source, this is actually the electron beam heated source, and here the source will be producing electron beam gun, and that is shown here. This is the electron beam that is shown here, and this is the vacuum pump that is used for evacuating this particular chamber and filling with inert gas like argon, and that pressure at which this process are taking place at this side of the chamber is filled with argon gas of about 1 Pascal or so. Such a small pressure is applied here. Here, this area is having pressure which is almost nearly equal to 10 raised, that is 0.001 Pascal or 1 millipascal. That is 10 raised to minus 3 Pascal, 1 millipascal. Okay, so this is the pressure barrier actually, and this is the chamber, and here this particular tubes are water cooling tubes to cool this chamber, and of course this is the inert gas inlet valve, and this is a dark space shield, and this is the substrate that is to be given negative polarity voltage. Okay, that is the substrate over which that particular deposit has to be, nano-layer deposit has to be made. So this is contrary to the previous case. Previous case, this is the target, substrate will be placed here. So here where the substrate is placed, the substrate is here, and here the target, that is target for the electron beam which produces which produces the necessary ionizations to occur in the chamber is actually uh, evolving from here. So this is the electron beam or heated source. So this electron beam will be heating the gas and which forms the plasma in the chamber. Okay. So this is a pump out valve. Actually, this is a pump out valve to make the vacuum here and filling of argon gas of 1 millipascal pressure here. Okay, so this is the valve for that. And this is the substrate over which that deposition has to be done. This is a shield that usually called a dark field shield. And of course, this is the power supply that actually makes the that actually makes this substrate to be negative polarized one and the negative polarity, and the positive polarity is connected to the source actually, that is connected to the source. Okay, so this setup is actually the schematic setup for the schematic diagram for the ion plating system, and this particular drawing you have to by heart. Okay, now in ion plating, the chamber is filled with argon gas with a pressure of few pascal and the plasma is ignited. So here the plasma is developed, you know. So when the gas is actually here, then the electron beam is here and that produces sufficient heat to ignite this here, ignite the plasma developed here due to the ionization of the gas. The ionization of the gas takes place here so that the plasma is here, that is ignited. Okay. The plasma is an electrically neutral medium of positive and negative charges. Plasma is actually an electrically neutral medium of positive and negative charges. The charges may be positive ion, negative ions and electrons. The charges may be either positive ion or negative ion or electrons. Usually plasma is an electrically neutral medium which has got positive and negative charges. Okay. It is the plasma is actually the fourth state of matter that we know. I have already explained all these things at the beginning. Then fluorescent lamps, arc lamps produce plasma when it is fed with a suitable voltage. This also we have discussed about the DC sputtering technique, glow discharge technique. Okay, the fluorescent lamps actually working under the principle of gas discharge, and arc lamps actually produce plasma, and that works on the principle of gas discharge. Okay. Then the wafer is cleaned on its surface by sputtering cleaning. Actually, the wafer means that is the substrate. The substrate surface is cleaned on with the help of sputter cleaning. The cleaning of a solid surface in a vacuum by using sputtering technique is called sputter cleaning. Actually, I have told you earlier the treatment of the surface of the substrate, and that is usually done with the help of sputtering technique. That is what is called sputter cleaning. It is an integral part of the ion plating process. Actually, in ion plating, the substrate surface must be cleaned very well, and that is done usually with the help of sputter cleaning. After cleaning the wafer by sputtering, the E-gun is switched on and the material is vaporized. So E-gun means that is the source I have told you. So this is the E-gun, where E-gun means electronic gun, electron beam producing gun. And this is actually the arrangement where this electron beam is produced, and that electron beam will be igniting that will be hitting with the ions of the gas here, so that ionized atom will be available here under low pressure. This ionization takes place and this beam will be heating up and making the ionization of the gas possible here, and so that the plasma is developed and that will be ignited. Okay. The E-gun is switched on and the material is vaporized. So the material is vaporized. So here actually this is actually a source where the electron gun is there, that actually makes the heat on the surface of the target. So that actually has to make the ions of the gas ionization takes place here, and that ionization causes to make the material vapor to be produced due to the heating developed due to the electron beam or electron gun, which heats up the ions hitting on the surface of the target, and that actually makes the ionization possible, and that actually makes the vapor of the material that is to be deposited on the surface here. That is not shown here clearly. Here only we have shown the electron beam and all those things. Okay. So this the control of this deposition of the material is done with the help of the shutter movement, either in this direction or in this direction, so it can be moved so that the direct plumes of the material, that is the material vapor will be available here, that will not be reaching at this particular substrate surface by the closing and opening of this one. This vapor of the material which is ionized, and that will be made available on the surface of the uh, substrate. Okay, that can be controlled by the shutter. The vapor is deposited on the surface of the vapor substrate. The growing of the vapor layer or growing of the layer on the substrate is improved by this plasma in some properties such as adhesion, homogeneity compared to a sole PVD. Sole PVD means single PVD arrangement in the case of evaporation methods or so. So usually in this technique, in ion plating technique, actually the ions of the material which is to be vaporized, that is made available with the help of electron gun, and that ion will be hitting the gas ionization which is taking place in the in between the target and the substrate area, so that actually makes the vapor of the metal which is ionized, that is made available at the surface of the substrate. Okay, that is the vapor metal vapor is deposited on the surface of the vapor substrate. The growing of the layer on the substrate is improved by the plasma in some properties such as adhesion. There are different properties of the plasma. That is, this plasma is actually in the fourth state of matter, in which the vapor content of the material that is to be deposited is there in the form of plasma state. Okay, so this plasma actually causes to improve the layer formation on the substrate by the process of adhesion and homogeneity. So this adhesion property and homogeneity property of the material, actually these two material of this process actually causes to make the nano layers on the substrate very effective, or very improved layer which may be placed or it may be formed on the layer over the surface of the substrate. And what are the advantages of ion plating? The main advantages of ion plating is the higher energies of the vaporized atom, and therefore better addition of the produced films. The higher the energies of the vaporized atom, if the energy of the vaporized atom is more and more, then the better addition of the produced film. The addition of the film produced on the surface of the substrate will be more and more, and is more and more and very effective, and the layer produced will be very much improved layer is produced, because the addition of the layers one after the other will be very effective. So the addition will be very effective, so that the layer formed on ion plating will be more improved. Okay, then what is the disadvantage? The disadvantage is that heating of the substrate and plasma interacts with the radiation sensitive layers such as Mohs oxide. Suppose if Mohs oxide is there, if Mohs oxide or metal oxide silicon, that is the layer to be formed. In such cases, of course, the heating of the substrate and the plasma interacts with this radioactive sensitive material such as metal oxide silicon like materials. So that actually makes the radiation sensitive materials that will be interacting with radioactive materials like Mohs oxides. That is the main disadvantage. Okay, with this we conclude this ion plating. Now we will go for laser ablation method in physical vapor deposition. So we have seen the ion plating method of physical vapor deposition and its advantages and disadvantages. Now we will discuss about the laser ablation. What is meant by laser ablation? The deposition of nanolayers through evaporation by lasers is called laser ablation. You know what is laser? Light amplification by simulated emission of radiation, that is laser. That is actually the invisible high energy rays of photons, that is the laser, isn't it? So laser has got a very high energy, very high electron energy is there in the lasers. So this laser can be used for the deposition of nanolayers through evaporation technique. So what actually will be done by this laser? This laser will be making the evaporation possible, or it will be producing sufficient heat to evaporate the material to be deposited upon the wafer. So when laser is used for this purpose, then we say that the process is called laser ablation method, or that material is ablated upon the silicon wafer by the use of lasers. So that is why it is called laser ablation method. The absorption characteristic of the material to be evaporated determines the laser wavelength. To increase the power, pulsed laser is employed. To increase the power, pulsed laser PLA is used. This system is called pulsed laser ablation. Oxygen gas is supplied for the formation of oxides for the oxide coating. It is very effective technique for deposition of complex films. Suppose complex films of nanolayers has to be formed. In such cases, it is better to use laser ablation method. So this method is an important technique for making high temperature superconducting oxide films. Okay. So if you want to produce some high temperature superconducting oxide films, there also we will be making use of laser ablation techniques. So what is the principle of operation of laser ablation? Laser ablation relies on a photon interaction to create an ejected plume of material from the target. We have already discussed about the plume, isn't it? So here also laser ablation really relies on the photon interaction to create an ejected plume of material from the target. It leads to a nucleation and growth of a thin film on the substrate surface. Actually, the laser caused to make the plume of the material to be deposited upon the surface of the substrate, isn't it? So it leads to a nucleation to occur, and that nucleation causes to grow a thin film on the substrate surface. That is the principle of operation of laser ablation. So this is the basic arrangement schematic diagram for a laser ablation method. So here this is the target. So different targets are here. So targets are actually having small area targets of different sizes here, different materials of targets, different sizes. That is because complex films are produced, different targets of different materials must be here. So that's why target is having different materials like this. So each target there will be plumes of the material produced. Okay, and here this is the lens through which the laser beam is focused upon the target. Okay, and this is a reed gun, RHEED. We will see what is reed and what is the purpose of this reed. We will see, and this is a heater which heats up the substrate. Actually, this is the substrate over which substrate the thin film layers have to be developed easily. So actually, in order to improve the layer formation upon substrate, we have separate mechanism to see all these kinds of phenomena through a reed gun mechanism or reed mechanism, or reed gun is the in order to see all the formation of the layers occurring on the substrate here. And TMP is actually a pump which actually creates the vacuum inside this chamber and all those things. And this is the laser which actually focus through a lens upon the which actually focus the laser energy upon the target here. And this is the oxygen gas that actually gives sufficient in order for the formation of oxides. Oxygen gas has to be passed on to this area of the chamber through in a controlled level by using a control valve. Okay, so this is a typical laser ablation system under O2 partial pressure. Note the plume here, a luminous cloud close to the irradiated target. This is the irradiated. Actually, this laser is actually making a radiation here, so as to produce the plume of the material here. Okay, on the target surface. Reed is actually, what is reed? Reed is actually reflection high energy electron diffraction. And what is the purpose of this one? We will see in the next session. So how this particular system works? The arrangement of the laser ablation method we have seen here. A high energy laser beam is focused on the surface of a target rotating with the velocity of 1 revolution per second for uniform erosion and consumption of the target. Laser radiation interacts with the target. So here we have seen this target is irradiated with the help of laser so that it will be getting heated up. It will be getting heated up and the plume of the material is given. So different materials are there so that we can form complex films upon the wafer, isn't it? So this target is revolved at a speed of 1 revolution per second. Very small, that is 1 revolution per second. So that at each target material, this focusing of the laser is made available. Okay. The material is vaporized on the substrate and as a result, a film is produced on it. The material is vaporized on the substrate, and actually here this material plume is there, that is vaporized and that is made available to be deposited upon the substrate here, over which this plume of the material and the vapor produced on this particular material is deposited. The growth can be supported by heating the substrate and by chemical reactions. Actually, the heater produced here, the heater provided here will be making this reaction very easily. That is, the production of the nanolayer will be very fast by heating the substrate to a certain extent, and also by chemical reaction also this layer formation will be due to the heating of the substrate. What happens? The chemical reaction takes place so that this plume will be deposited upon this will be in a fast manner, so that layer formation will be very fast. The typical temperature value of target surface can be about 3000 Kelvin. That is the typical temperature at the target surface, and how this temperature is produced? That is produced by focusing the laser beam upon the target. The momentum of the incident beam is transferred to the target. The momentum means that energy, that is the momentum. The momentum contains the laser energy that is transferred to the target, which results in an injection of particles from the surface. Actually, from the target surface, the particles or the ions are actually disassociated. So the particles are disassociated, and that will be formed as a plume. And that is this plume will be made available on the surface and called, then that is actually usually called the collisional sputtering. Actually, that collisional sputtering is done with the help of this laser. This laser actually interacts with the surface of the target in order to make the ejection of particles, and that actually causes to make the plume of the material over the target. And this particular type of collision of the that ejection of particles is called collisional sputtering. Collisional sputtering, that is actually by colliding with the help of focusing the laser upon the target surface, the collision of the particles and ions will be there, and that actually causes to make more and more particles to be ejected, okay, from the surface of the target. So turbomolecular pump, that is TMP, is employed to produce the required vacuum level. I have told you this TMP, that is actually that is actually the vacuum pump, isn't it? That is actually the vacuum pump. I have told you actually this one. This molecular pump, actually this vacuum pump makes the chamber, that actually makes the chamber more and more vacuum, so that this chamber will be having almost vacuum with a very low pressure of this O2 gas that will be controlled, that will be allowed to enter here at controlled level in order to accelerate the oxide formation and the reaction process. Okay. Now, laser-induced expulsion reduces, or that actually laser-induced expulsion of the particle produces a plume of the material with stoichiometry similar to the target. So, what is meant by stoichiometry? Stoichiometry, നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നില്ലേ ടെമ്പറേച്ചറും പ്രഷറിൻ്റെ എല്ലാം കണ്ടീഷൻസ് വെച്ച് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ മെറ്റീരിയലിൻ്റെ അതേ സ്വഭാവ ഗുണങ്ങളുള്ള വേപ്പർ പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിനാണ് സ്റ്റോക്കിയോമെട്രി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ദാറ്റ് ആക്ച്വലി the material has got the same stoichiometry for the plume also. The plume of the material with stoichiometry similar to the target. So actually the stoichiometry of the target is maintained in the plume also, so that the plume produced due to the expulsion of particles from the surface of the material is stoichiometrically equal to the target. Okay. So evaporated material cloud from the surface of the target is further heated by the absorption of the rest of the laser pulse, which leads to ionization of the cloud particles. Deposition of the ablated materials takes place with the substrate. Actually, when this plume of the material is there, that will be the ions in that particular material will be collide with the other atoms, and that actually makes the uh, that actually heated by the absorption of the rest of the laser pulse, which leads to ionization of the cloud particles. Actually, these particles which produces this plume is called the cloud particles, and the cloud of material, cloud of the vapor content or cloud of the vapor of the material that causes this ionization that actually makes to deposit upon the or that ablated that is what is called ablated material that will be takes place on the depositing on the substrate. Okay, so more or less the method is same for all the process. Actually, the target material is heated up, and its the surface ions are dissociated, or surface particles or atoms are dissociated with the heating process, so that what happens, a plume of the material is developed over the surface of the material, and that is actually made available to deposit upon the substrate under a low pressure chamber with some argon gas also, because that gas actually accelerates the process of ionization by ionizing the gas in order to produce the discharge in the case of sputtering technique, and that ionization process to make the deposition of the material upon the substrate in the case of laser ablation methods. Okay, so actually the laser is a pulsed laser. Actually, we are using pulsed laser ablation so that the efficiency of this pulsation and the improvement of the layer produced can be very much improved. That can be very much improved. So laser pulse, which leads to ionization of the cloud particles. Actually, this laser pulses leads to make the ionization of the cloud particles, and that actually finally causes to deposit upon the substrate material. It leads to nucleation and growth of a thin film. It leads to nucleation, and this process finally causes to make, or that will be finally causes to make an equilibrium wave, so that a nucleation takes place and growth of a thin film on the substrate. Uniform thin film will be provided or produced for the substrate surface. So that is what is called the nucleation, and nucleation that causes to grow a thin film on the substrate uniformly. A uniform high density film layer is preferred, and that is usually produced with the help of laser ablation method. Useful range of laser wavelength for high quality growth is 200 to 500, 550 nanometer. So that is the quality of the wavelength, that is the wavelength of the laser used. Usually different kinds of lasers can be used in laser ablation method, and in which the laser wavelength can be of the order of 200 to 550 nanometers. Such a small wavelength radiations are produced, and that laser that will be made available at the target and over the target surface in order to make the ablation of the material that deposited upon the substrate material. Okay. And what are the kind of lasers used in this system? The lasers used in this methods are excimer. Excimer is actually a gas-based laser system, a gas laser system which emits radiation directly into UV spectral range. Understand? That is the excimer. You understand this particular type of laser used in laser ablation method. In laser ablation method, we can use excimer laser, which is essentially a gas-based laser system which emits the radiation, emits the radiated energy directly into UV spectral range. Actually, that range of the radiation or the photon is produced directly in the UV spectral range. So such a high energy radiation is possible with the help of gas-based laser excimer, or we can use Nd:YAG. Nd:YAG means yttrium aluminum garnet. That's another type of laser used in laser ablation method. Or you can have ruby, or we can have CO2 lasers. All these type of lasers can be used. Excimer, Nd:YAG, ruby, and CO2 lasers. Okay, this all these kinds of lasers can be used. Not all these ones are used in a single system. No, only one type. Either you can use a Excimer type of laser, or you can use a ND-YAG laser, you can use a Ruby laser, or you can use a COT laser. All these kinds of lasers can be used in laser ablation methods. The film growth rate is about 0.07 nanometer per pulse. For each pulse, in a pulsed laser ablation, for each pulse, the growth rate of the film is 0.07 nanometer per pulse. Per pulse, 0.07 nanometer size film growth is produced upon the substrate or over the surface of the substrate. Okay. Now, see this one. So, here we have seen a reed gun, reflection, high energy electron diffraction, that is reed. This reed and its usage and advantages, or what are the functions of reed, that you should understand very clearly, because sometimes a main question will be like, explain the laser ablation method of physical vapor deposition and discuss the actions of, or discuss the advantages of using reflection high energy electron diffraction or reed gun. What are the advantages of using reed gun in laser ablation method? So, what are the advantages of, or what is the reflection high energy electron diffraction, that we will see now. Reflection high energy electron diffraction is a technique used to characterize the surface of crystalline material. So, this technique is, reed technique is used to characterize the surface of crystalline materials. Crystalline, that is, characterize the surface of crystalline materials means whether it is a microcrystalline or whether it is an amorphous crystalline. So, there are different types of characterization for the surface of crystalline materials. So, that can be used, that can be done with the help of this reed difflection by evaluating the type of layers produced during the laser ablation method. So, this system is used to monitor the growth process. So, layer formation, thin layer formation process can be monitored very effectively. This growth process can be very effectively monitored with the help of reflection high energy electron diffraction method. So, that is the main advantage of using high energy electron diffraction system, that is reed system, reflection high energy electron diffraction system, reflection high energy electron diffraction system. Okay, that is in short we will say reed system. A reed system consists of an electron source, that is here. A reed system consists of an electron source here. This is a electron gun shown here, and this is a lens that focuses this particular electron gun upon this thin film produced, right? So, that will be then redirected to upon a RHED screen. This is a reed screen. This is a screen very similar to a TV screen like. Okay, this screen I will tell you what is the screen and what are the important that's advantages of that particular screen also I will tell you. Then the electron gun generates a beam of electrons which strike the sample at a very small angle relative to the sample surface. Okay, the electron gun generates a beam of electrons which strike the sample at a very small angle relative to the sample surface. So, here this reed gun produces an electron gun that produces a beam of electron at a very small angle compared to the surface of the sample. This is the sample, isn't it? So, this beam will be actually having a very small angle with respect to the surface. So, then why is it done so? Incident electrons diffract from the atoms at the surface. So, this incident electrons will be now diffracted. That's why it is called reflected electron diffraction. So, that is why it is called high energy electron diffraction. Actually, this incident electron will be diffract from the atom at the surface of the sample and form a regular pattern on the detector. So, this is a detector screen. This is a detector screen, a fluorescent screen, a detector scheme which actually shows how the growth process is taking place here. or how effectively the gross processing is taking place here, like this. Okay, so this reflector detector is actually the reader screen detector is very similar to fluorescent screen, in which whatever growth process taking place here will be directly seen here, so that it can be monitored. The growth process of the sample can be monitored, or growth process of the layers produced upon the sample or the substrate can be monitored here. So that is the advantages of using read system. The electron interfere according to the position of the atom on the sample surface. So the pattern at the detector is a function of the sample surface. How can we take that particular pattern provided on the read screen as equivalent to the size of the thin film produced, because the electron interfere according to the position of the atom. Actually, the electrons are hitting upon the surface of the film or atoms of the films produced, isn't it? That is surface where the film is produced. Over the film, this electron beam, the read beam will be directing its electron beam that actually hit on the atoms and or which actually reflects upon the by touching upon which are actually reflecting from the atoms there, and that reflected beam will be then made available to the screen of the read system. So that screen, the whatever is the layers formed, that will be made available to see on the screen, isn't it? So this pattern at the detector is a function of the sample surface. Actually, the pattern produced on the surface of the read system is a function of the sample surface. That is why whatever is the thickness of the sample surface, that will be made available at the read screen. That is nothing but a fluorescent skin with some control systems and control mechanism, that different kinds of controls for making this beam directly made available at the center of the read screen. Okay, so that's why the pattern available on the read screen will be a function of the sample surface. The diffraction pattern of electron is viewed on a fluorescent screen, I told you already, that is the read screen. As the surface changes in a periodic way as a new monolayer is grown. So, as the surface changes in a periodic way as a new monolayer is grown. When a new monolayer is grown, the surface changes in a periodic way. It can be observed in the intensity and pattern of the read signal. So, the intensity and the pattern produced on the read signal or on the read screen is actually a function of the pattern produced over the surface of the sample. Is it? Because the monolayer produced each time, it is in the form of a periodic wave, because actually the periodic wave means because at each time the target material is revolved, isn't it? So at each time this particular material which is formed over the surface of the substrate will be each time the monolayer is formed, it is actually formed in a periodic way. So this particular formation can be very clearly observed with the intensity and the pattern produced from the read screen, which is nothing but a fluorescent screen only. The diffraction pattern reveals the structure of the surface. The diffraction pattern gives the real making of the surface produced by the laser ablation method. Surface, that is the kind of layer produced. What is the that will be given as a pattern which is formed on the read screen due to diffraction. Okay, so what are the advantages of laser ablation? So this laser ablation has got many advantages and some of the disadvantages. I will tell you some of the advantages. The deposit of the materials of high melting point. Usually the laser produces a very high intensity heat energy. The deposit of materials of high melting points can be used for the purpose. A good control over impurities. Usually we can make use of the material of high melting point to deposit upon wafer. That is the deposition of materials of high melting point. Then a good control over impurities. Good control over vapor composition. Deposition of materials of high melting point, I have told you. This method is fast, versatile and cost effective. This is very fast, versatile and cost effective. And laser can be made outside of the chamber. It can be made outside of the chamber that we have seen. High energy plume is produced due to the a focusing of the laser gun on the target material. Then foam is fast and directional because the foam is produced due to the focusing of the laser upon the material. So this foam is actually fast and it is directional. So foam is actually produced from the target material and it is directional. Deposition can be done at high pressure of the order of 1 torr. The deposition of the materials is done at a very low pressure, at a high pressure of the order of 1 torr. 1 torr means almost 1 Pascal, I think. The possibility of the vaporization in an oxidizing environment and stoichiometric vaporization. The possibility of vaporization in oxidizing environments and stoichiometric vaporization. These two types of vaporization that is actually this the possibility of vaporization oxidizing environment. So we can have the controlled use of oxygen also allowed to enter into the chamber that makes to produce oxide layers. So that is actually vaporization done in oxidizing environment. And of course stoichiometric vaporization is also possible. That is vaporization done with the help of heating due to the focusing of the laser beam. That is actually done. That is actually the stoichiometric vaporization. Okay. Then what are all the disadvantages? The formation of droplets on the vaporized layer. That is the main disadvantage of the system. Formation of droplets on the vaporized layer. Though the layer formed is uniform in nature, but there are chances of droplets of the materials formed on the surface. So that droplets will give irregular uniformity on the nanolayers produced. Okay, it needs a complex system design. So it's a complicated design structure and all those things. So it needs a complex system design. It has a low energy conversion efficiency. So energy conversion efficiency is low. Splashing causes micron-sized particulates. Actually, the particle produced will be of micron size, and this splashing means the focusing of the laser beam upon the target actually causes to splash this particular particles from the surface of the target. So that is actually micron sized sometimes, usually. Uniform layers are formed only a small area of the substrate because the substrate, the target is smaller in size, so that the area through which this particular films can be uh, radiated or it can be deposited upon the substrate is actually in a small area of the substrate. And mass production is not possible. Mass production is not possible with this method. I do not know whether this mass production is not possible with this method is correct or not. Anyway, some textbooks say like that. I have to check this one. Anyway, you just understand the main this one, the formation of droplets onto the vaporized layer. Okay, and it needs complex system design, and splashing causes micron sized particle. That is particle size which will be somewhat higher in size. That is micron sized one. Actually, in nanomaterials, we are having nano sized materials, but the splashing of the material causes to produce micron sized particulates. So uniform layers are formed only in small areas only. That is also another disadvantage. And this mass production is not possible. That is actually not very correct if you say as a disadvantage. Of course, you learn only this three disadvantages and some of the advantages like this. Okay. So with this, we complete this session here in physical vapor deposition method. So we have learned four important methods: evaporation, sputtering, then ion plating, then laser ablation methods in physical vapor deposition method. Then the next class we will discuss about the chemical vapor deposition method. What are all the important chemical vapor deposition methods, and in which we have to concentrate on molecular beam epitaxial method or MBE techniques of producing chemical vapor deposition and all these things. Then we have to learn about the ion implantation, not ion plating. It's an ion implantation, that is a chemical vapor deposition method. Okay. So thank you very much for patiently hearing my lecture session. Thank you very much. Wish you all the very best.